Hello everyone and welcome back today about how to choose a specialist working with energies. So anything what they say that sounds more esoteric is not about doctor, but it's not a psychotherapy, and with these things that are unexplained and you think you need it or you want to find out more about things that are happening and they seem to be peculiar, unexplained, you need different sort of a specialist. You look for shaman, psychic, clairvoyant, whatever, you name it. So it's a little bit more difficult than just looking for a psychotherapist because you are operating now on something that is not proved, unexplained, there's not enough documentation about it. So how to choose the right one for you and what to pay attention to. Everything I'm saying from my own personal perspective, and I'm sharing with you what I experience and those around me. So my own observations. The ethics in medicine, psychology are already established. We know very well what's happening in the therapeutic contract between client and the therapist. That is a sort of a transference, one is falling in love into another. There is this charming thing going on. They like each other. It can happen. That's why it's forbidden. Everything has a reason. And these things are pretty fresh in these esoteric schools and more likely to be, the borders are more likely to be crossed. So you have to pay attention more to that from the perspective of a client because you are on more vulnerable position. You are opening yourself to someone who's going to work pretty deep on the issues you're coming with. So the reincarnation, hypnotherapy, whatever that is. So the ethics here are already there. It is establishing for all these years. Maybe not enough, maybe it's improving. But here's something to pay attention to. So if you are opening up a newspaper, well, these days more internet, more likely, and you see a great master of, I would be careful with that statement. I, in Poland, also did all these courses, Reiki, first, second, master Reiki, but I would not put my name in a newspaper saying great master of, or whatever that is. I think that, and again, this is only my thing, that's why I'm trying to be a little bit more careful with wording here, with words. Maybe there are indeed some real masters. They are for me more gurus, and that means teacher. Guru means a teacher, but masters, maybe some people tend to worship. So I would be just careful with that. So if someone calls himself that, I would really challenge that person. That's just me. So, in Polish language, there is a name for trusting someone. It's called ufam. So I'm a very peculiar in this trusting thing. So anytime someone says, trust me, ufaj me, in Polish language, the most thing I can say is uf. That's all I can say. Trust yourself, I would say, first. Then you don't have to trust anybody else. You just know. But of course, it's not easy, and it's not easy if you don't have a knowledge, if you don't see energies, if you're not intuitive or not enough, or you don't trust yourself. Basically, if what you're seeing is true, so you're looking for mirror, somebody who views the world from the same perspective at least. So pay attention to words. People are telling about who they are, how they are presenting their business, how much money they charge, how they trying to convince you into what they are doing. It's going to help you. I had a peculiar example when I wasn't living in the Netherlands, and I wrote it. This is in a book too, if you want to still get to that. Maybe some of you read that part already, but just for those who didn't read my books, I will share with this interesting concept how you can be manipulated into something. So if the there was an example when a friend of mine had a tarot cards reader, and I'm reading tarot too. And the lady told me very bad things. I'm going to die in the Netherlands within a month and blah, blah, blah. Sort of things, you know. I was immigrant at that time, and I had a position that was really not so nice. And these things can really play with your subconscious mind. You can really get scared. But there is this thing within me that I always try to dig deeper and see what's behind, what's the intention behind. So what's turned out, this person was feeling threatened by me, because probably I was reading cards, and that was a very good client. Her friend was my friend was a very good client of hers, so she just needed to get rid of me. Once I understood that, I didn't need to forgive her or anything like that. I just understood the dynamic and the intention was behind, so I didn't have to be worried about anything else. But that's also very important to look into intention of the person who is working with you. And this one is hard, because this intention is not something that this person will tell you. You have to dig a little bit, you have to ask the proper kinds of questions. So that's the thing that I'm advising, to interview potential people that you're looking for. So if you look for a hypnotherapist, you pick some and you discuss with them. You are asking how they work, how much they charge, what is their ethics, and they will tell you, probably professionally, how they work, but your body will respond to them in a certain way. So pay attention to that. Another thing is, so they pay attention to intention, to the wording. And the last thing is a documentation. In Poland, for example, we have a psychic, and he's very well known. It's a Mr. Krzysztof Jackowski, and he has enormous documentation how he finds dead people. It's amazing. He's collecting that, and he got witnesses, and he was very persisting during the years, and I'm really glad he did that, because he's a great example of how you need to pay attention yourself to prove that what you're saying was right. And sometimes I can tell that he was doubting himself on the way. But his documentation is something that can always lift him up, because that's a proof. So another person I recently did interviews with them, it was Claes Van from Sweden, ufologist, and Mary Rodwell, hypnotherapist from Australia. And these people having also amazing documentation of their work. And they observe similar things. They are collecting it. So that's another thing to pay attention to before you get you can get recommendation from someone about their spiritual work. And it's great if you just get recommendation from the friend of yours, but even that is not so precise as that, paperwork, because there is this factor that our perception plays enormous role. So the same person can be a good specialist, but it doesn't resonate with me. It resonates with other people and it helps them. And I have a friend who is psychic in Poland, and he is very also honest. If he cannot help someone, he doesn't take anything, and he tells that he cannot help, and he directs this person to someone else. That's a really strong ethic, and I admire that. So another thing that I think can help also is to check those people when you are feeling good. So if you are under threat of the life-threatening disease and you are in fear, that's not the best time. You need to come to the certain point within yourself and then try to find out more about the people you would like to get help. If you like to go this energy path, because if you have a life-threatening sickness, I definitely would recommend a doctor first, and psychotherapy is the next, and then someone who works on with energies on the third place. Now, if you are also in a strong emotional state, not necessarily fear, but even excited, even something good, that is also not the best time, because your intuition, your perception is different. In a different state of a consciousness, you're perceiving things differently. So the best decision you will probably make and choose the best person from, assuming you have a list to choose from, when you are peaceful with yourself, when you are calm, and when you have a sort of a clarity with yourself, at least to what do you want to explore, or what do you think is the case of what's going on. I think more or less I expressed all my opinions, humble opinions, just my. If you would like to add something more, please do so. Maybe I forgot about something, how to pick that right person for yourself, so please add more, because we are all learning here, and looking forward to hearing from you about this topic. Thank you very much for listening, and have a lovely day. Bye bye.